Hi everyone, and welcome to the first ever Games with Wings showcase. A special programme airing for the first time this year to shine a spotlight on some of the greatest indie games we know and love made by incredible women developers. I'm Danny, and together with Krista from Wings, we will be your hosts for the show this year. We have so much awesome content in store for you today, and we hope you're as excited as we are. Get ready to discover so many amazing upcoming and recently released games made by some fire women-led teams.
And to rediscover a couple of much-loved fan favorites. We also have an incredible lineup of exclusive developer interviews giving you a behind-the-scenes look at the minds behind the magic of amazing indie games like Tiny Glade, Slay the Princess, The Wandering Village, and Unpacking. As part of our ongoing commitment to highlighting the outstanding work of women and other marginalized gender developers in the games industry, Wings is so incredibly proud to be presenting this showcase today in celebration of some of the most creative and influential games and the amazing women who make it all happen.
And what better time to feature all these great games than during International Women's Rights Month? There's another reason to be excited and to celebrate, which is the start of the Women's Day sale on Steam, happening right now. There's over 400 amazing games crafted by women-led teams, with huge discounts and brand new demos of exciting upcoming games. You don't want to miss out. The Women's Day sale starts today and is running until March 10th. So after you're finished here, don't delay, make your way and be sure to go and check it out.
It's time to grab your favorite drink and maybe some snacks, and let's start the show. Now we're going to start things off on a bit of a spooky note here. If you love eerie, scary, paranormal gameplay, here are some exciting new games, plus a couple of old favorites that might be for you.
Mr. Spade?
Sophie? What's going on?
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but sometimes when I clean the rooms, I get a little curious and snoop through our guest stuff.
Sneaky. And Mr. Spade caught you in the act, I suppose?
Yes.
I could keep an eye out and call you if I see our mysterious photographer return.
Are you telling me I should snoop around?
Well, it's nothing you haven't done before, is it? Curiosity killed the cat.
Oh, Andrew, hi. I was...
Spying on our manager?
I can't remember the last time work was this interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it.
What the hell?
Sophie Roy, I'm Detective Maurice Tremblay. I need you to tell me everything that happened.
Maybe don't mention that to the police.
Did you touch anything?
No, nothing. What a week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Miss Roy, but I just don't believe you.
Your cell inmate. What kind of prison is this? A rare piece of drift technology has been detected somewhere in the canyon. We need you to retrieve it for study. Well done, folks. Your sentence has been reduced by 100 days.
Is your work so relentless, little scout?
The scout's job is to explore the unknown, and sometimes the unknown is dangerous. Why are you helping me? If you do this for me, I'll set you free. What did they do to you? Are you alright?
Your eyes have been haunting me.
What I need is to feel the presence of the abyss.
Shh, 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 or you'll blow my cover.
It told me to drown the city in blood. You are mine.
Do not ask the shadows. Command them. Like this.
What are you two doing? I wouldn't call eavesdropping nothing, even if that's the final result of such foolishness.
What I need is to feel the presence of the abyss.
I shall do whatever you wish of me. Always. Who do you take me for? A scandalous man?
What do you think about, moving back in with me?
What does your next one say? Maybe there's a clue there.
It says, another disappearance has struck our village. Yesterday, a
clockmaker's daughter was reported missing.
Yeah, I'm in the house now. I see a box.
Wait, I don't see any box. I see a train and a lamp.
Okay, I think I can spin the handle on this box.
Oh, I turned on the train and now there are words. I have some instructions.
Where should we go next? We still need to find the other half of the ticket.
I want to see what's in the well.
Your girl loves some Dead by Daylight, and I've been playing some Alan Wake lately, so all of these games look fantastic and are pretty likely going to be going on my wishlist. One of the most exciting indie horror games of 2023 was Slay the Princess. In our next segment, we're excited to dive into the twisted and thrilling world of this horror comedy and romance visual novel as we sit down for an exclusive interview with the talented Abby Howard, who is Slay the Princess's co-creator, artist and editor, and who, in my professional gamer opinion, wrote some of the best lines in the game.
Can you explain to someone who has never played Slay the Princess what the game is about?
So, you wake up on a path in the woods. A mysterious narrator in your head tells you that if you don't slay a princess in a cabin on the hill, she will go on to end the world. What you do with that information and what you choose to do from that point forward is entirely up to you. There are many, many outcomes and many scenarios you can encounter. It's a very existential game. It's about relationships in kind of the way that they can change based on just a few early interactions you have with someone. The same person can seem to be entirely different people, just depending on what the start of the relationship was.
The title of the game, Slay the Princess, is definitely a statement in itself. What inspired you to completely reverse the classic fairy tale trope of a hero slaying a dragon and then saving a princess?
Well, it kind of started with the scenario in mind before we had decided what the characters were going to be and what the setting was going to be. It was the cabin in the woods, I believe, was an early idea. This was a conversation that took place over like maybe a half an hour, so it was a pretty fast evolution from the premise of someone locked away that you are tasked with killing because of a certain ability that they have that you aren't allowed to know about. So then the idea of you going to a place where someone is imprisoned is already kind of a fairy tale idea. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that's where my patterns go, of just, oh yes, it is a tower. A princess is usually locked away in a tower. And isn't it interesting that you are going to do the thing that a knight would not be going to do? So it all just kind of fell into place pretty quickly.
Slay the Princess is a visual novel, and therefore the gameplay is story-driven, based on the player's choices. And the choices that players have to make are definitely not easy ones. How do you expect players to feel throughout the game?
I know Tony always says that the game is kind of a mirror of your interactions with it and how you interact with games in general, perhaps. Or at the very least with this idea and with this game in particular. To kind of reflect back at you the ways in which the way you're interacting with the game might present you as a person and the way that you're shaping this relationship. So that's kind of the primary way that we want to interact with people. It's like the high level. As a horror creator, I always like to challenge people, kind of surprise them, make them uncomfortable. We definitely want it to feel unsettling and wrong from the beginning. So just the fact that it isn't a tower that this princess is in, it's a cabin in the woods, is already strange, and you're being asked to kill her. It's strange. And then if you look down at your hands, they're not normal. So just kind of at every interval we want to challenge the player, challenge the preconceived ideas they have going into it of who they are, what their role is in the story, and what they're being told by everyone that talks to them, including the voices in their own head.
You announced in December that in 2024 you'll release a patch expanding the game with new chapters and completely for free. What can players expect from the pristine cult?
It's going to be really good. I'm working on it right now, and it's some of the best art that I have made, I think. And Tony's writing is, of course, incredible. And it's expanding several of the later chapters in the game where they didn't get a lot of space to kind of breathe because of an initial idea that kind of like didn't translate to the final game of like never giving you a satisfying ending. Instead, some of them wound up with satisfying endings and others felt like they were cut off too short. So now we're expanding those endings as well as adding a few extra chapter 3s that I think people are going to be really, really happy with. It's a pretty big expansion. Should be out in March, if all goes well.
Okay, so I have one last bonus question for you. Do you personally have a favorite ending to the game?
I honestly really like kind of the ending that a lot of people have decided is like the canon ending, but I also really like one where if you just keep trying to leave and just not engage with the story and you do it often enough, then you get an entire ending, like cut to credits ending, that is very unsettling, I think. It's not one that a lot of people get because it takes a lot of dedication to doing this exact thing over and over again, but it's really good. That's my opinion.
I see you have returned to me. Days mean nothing in the maw of forever. I never left your side.
Games that spike your heart rate and give you the occasional nightmare about princesses you may or may not need to kill are fantastic. But perhaps after playing a lot of those spooky games, you might want to take a break with some cozy ones. In our next segment, we're excited to share a collection of upcoming and recently released games that will whisk you away to charming and comfy worlds with wholesome vibes.
Windspell, the crafter's paradise. You still can't believe that you finally managed to open your own storefront here.
Hello? Groundskeeper Bellin, please. Or better, just Bellin. I understand that you offer smithing services here.
You're not sure what exactly you're going to sell yet. That, you reason, depends on what the customers ask for. You're flexible. Less flexible is the feeding schedule of your pet owl cat, Meow.
Well, let's have a look.
Oh, hello. Are you the owner?
Oh my gosh, these are so wholesome. Honestly, I feel way more relaxed after watching some of those trailers. As someone who makes a lot of custom content for The Sims 4, I'm especially excited about this upcoming cozy game. This next segment, we have the absolute pleasure of interviewing Anna Opara, one of the brilliant minds behind the highly anticipated Tiny Glade, a relaxing game that lets you unleash your creativity by doodling enchanted castles.
So just to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about Tiny Glade?
Tiny Glade is a relaxing castle doodling game. There is no management, combat, or resources, and the focus is purely on building something you like and making the act of building itself as satisfying and joyful as we can. So for example, we use a lot of procedural generation to make things fit together, and we like to call it chemistry because it's like you have two combination of elements and they produce something new. So if you lead a path through a wall, make an arch, or if you have two windows and they have two clofts, they will connect. We tried to pack a lot of these sweet nuggets of joyful discoveries into the game. And yeah, I guess it's also hugely about the vibes and creating this like serene and calming space.
Tiny Glade began as a weekend project just for fun that you then started posting some fun videos about on TikTok. Can you explain your thought process upon noticing that some of these videos were going viral and getting millions of views?
That was very surprising on multiple levels. Kind of a combination of exhilarating and terrifying at the same time, because you put yourself out there and then you see, oh my god, people actually liked what I made. And then it kind of transitions from that up note to be like, oh my god, what if I screw up? But from like a project perspective, we wanted to go indie for a while and we were looking for the first project to start. And Tiny Glade seemed to start accumulating some of the audience. But it still took us actually a while to kind of make that mental jump that Tiny Glade could be a game. I think the turning point for us was one of the TikToks where I posted about, like someone just asked me like, what is this game about? And I basically told them the same thing, that it's like, yeah, it's a relaxing game, no management, combat or resource, it's focused purely on building. And I honestly thought it's not gonna like do super well. I didn't even bother putting music because I thought it was such a simple answer. And that TikTok went viral. It had almost, I think, 1 million likes.
As you mentioned before, one of the unique features of Tiny Glade is that there is no management or combat or really any wrong answers at all. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the experience you were trying to create for your players?
In Tiny Glade, we want you to focus on what you yourself like, your own aesthetical judgment. So we don't have a score to optimize, for example. We kind of want to let your mind unwind, and that's why we like to use the word doodling, because when you doodle, you kind of have this no pressure, and it's a very relaxing act. You can think of it as like this visual diorama, and we wanted to make everything very tactile. That's why our sounds are very physical, because we want to evoke a feeling of texture. And we want to make sure like everything you create is like very intricate. It feels very, very handmade, and that you get a lot out of very little input. We want our players to feel surprised by what they've made. We want them to feel like they can make something beautiful and feel pride and joy in what they've made. That actually one of my favorite feedbacks in the game when we were playtesting it is when one person said that, oh, I'm not an artist or anything, but I just made something very beautiful. And for me, like the best part was that they say I made something beautiful, because they felt ownership of what they've made. And that was like, yes, the game worked. This game is actually hugely about storytelling. And again, we notice when people play, first people start to like mess around with the tools and try things out. But as soon as we notice that people start kind of telling a story with what they're making, that's when we know the game worked for them.
Tiny Glade's journey really lifted off thanks to the engagement of your community on Twitter and TikTok. I can also see that your team created a series of dev diaries on Steam, which is always a great way to engage players and build up anticipation for the game. Can you tell us a little bit more about this Tiny Glade community and why it has been so important for you to build a relationship with your players?
The amount of interest for Tiny Glade has exceeded any of our boldest expectations, and it is very humbling and amazing, but at the same time it can feel quite abstract. For us, like the best moments are the moments where we can engage with our players, like during the playtest, or where we receive a message when someone is really looking forward to the game, or their kid is looking forward to the game, or the game made their grandma smile and she doesn't usually play games. I hope that kind of feeling of connection can extend beyond just players connecting to us developers, but also players connecting to each other. And we sort of saw glimpses of that when we were playtesting the game, because people tend to share what they create, and that was like really, really beautiful. Again, it kind of ties to the point of community. In a way, community helped us to understand where the game wants to go and what it needs to be. So in a way, it helped us a lot to shape the game as well. And in the end, it kind of ended up being a very iterative design process for us.
So we don't have a date yet, but you have shared that Tiny Glade will be released sometime later this year. Can you share any of the details or plans that you might have for the months to come?
We actually recently shared in our newsletter and our updates that we are releasing in summer 2024, so at least we have a window now. And we have a plan as well. So we plan to participate in Steam Next Fest in June. So you can expect that there will be a demo somewhere around June. It kind of gives us a specific deadline to work towards, so I think it's good. Basically, what's left for us is lots of work, and we have lots of coffee equipped to go through that work. And you know that there's a saying when it's like, when you're done with the 90% of whatever you're doing, there is another 90% now left. And that's how it feels right now. But I think it is worth it, and Tiny Glade is a better game for it. And I just really look forward to seeing people play Tiny Glade.
I am so excited to get my hands on Tiny Glade. I can already imagine all of the whimsical castles that I'm going to create. Up next, we will unpack our way through another exciting interview. Joining us is the incredibly talented Ren Breyer, the creative director of award-winning narrative puzzle game Unpacking. So for anybody who hasn't yet had a chance to play Unpacking, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Unpacking is a game about taking things out of boxes and finding places for them to go. It's also a game about learning about a character through the different moves in her life, from childhood to adulthood. You learn about her through the objects that she takes with her, what she keeps and what she leaves behind.
Unpacking is part puzzle game and part home decoration game, but there is definitely a narrative unfolding as you unpack your way through the levels as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about the inspiration behind the story and how you chose to represent this in the game?
The story of Unpacking is actually based on a real-life move when my partner moved in with me in our previous apartment. We were unpacking his stuff, and I noticed that there was something kind of game-like about it, where you take things out of one box and empty it to unlock the box underneath. You put together sets of items from the different boxes, and of course you can Tetris the items on the shelves and in drawers and such. And you can learn a lot about a person through the items that they own. So we thought, let's tell a story through this medium. Like, let's portray characters through this. And initially we wanted to do like a bunch of little vignettes about different characters moving. But then I thought, what if it was a story of one character going from move to move? And just from that concept, like, we got most of the story beats immediately. We were like, okay, you've got a childhood move, and then you go to university, and then you move out with housemates, move in with a boyfriend, and so on. It just immediately came together like that because we all have these moves in our lives.
Unpacking released in 2021 and has been a great success. You won several awards, including a BAFTA for Game of the Year. What do you think made this game so compelling to players?
It's always weird to think about that, because any game that succeeds, you go, oh yeah, of course it succeeded because XYZ, but then like it could have failed, and you'd be like, oh yeah, it failed because of ABC. Because Unpacking is such a universal activity and these story beats are so familiar to us, I think that resonated with people. And the activity is so easy to understand. Like, someone opens up the game and they see some boxes and they click on a box and an item comes out. They're like, oh, I'm unpacking. Like, they immediately know what to do. You come for the kind of organizing and the tidying up aspect of the game and like the customizing your home aspect of it, and you stay for the story.
I feel like accessibility in the video games industry is something that's not really talked about enough, but Unpacking is proud to be an accessible game. Your team clearly put a lot of thought into all the mechanics and features that could be barriers to entry. Why is accessibility so important to you?
We realized as we were working on it that the game itself was very accessible. The atmosphere of the game had to be friendly and not stressful and such, and we wanted to lean into all of that. So not having time limits and not having scores and things like that just came naturally out of the design. And then we thought, wow, this game can be played by anyone because you don't have these particular limitations. So why not lean into it and make it even more accessible? Like, why should it be a problem for someone to play if they have limitations with their eyesight or their hearing or cognitive limitations or anything? We're like, what can we do to reduce that? And we'd get comments from players who played the demo, and that would prompt us to change things, to add features. Like the button zooming in came about because a friend played the game and didn't notice certain things. Didn't realize that you could zoom in on items because even the buttons were too small for him. And someone else said, I think the kids in my school would love this game, but I think they would struggle with like having to put things in the right place. Can you maybe have a mode where you don't have to do that, where you can just put them anywhere? And, you know, someone else was like, I think this game is great, but the room changing animation makes me feel ill because I have vertigo problems. And we were like, okay, no problem. And we added an option to toggle that so it doesn't animate. You know, it just little things like that. You know, some games can be this accessible, and some games I think it's harder to do that. Like if your game is very frantic and like things are time sensitive and such, there's only so much you can do. So I think it's just good that we have a lot of different kinds of games and that we can strive to improve accessibility in any kind. But in Unpacking, we got particularly lucky, I think.
It's no secret that simulation games are some of my absolute favourites. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at some of the amazing games of the simulation and adventure genre. Let's take a look.
Whoa.
Don't you want to be normal? Why not just smile? Why cling to what makes life difficult? We will make you happy. We will free you of your desire. We will remove from you the burden of want. You need only to rest, and we will carry you home. We will return you both safely from where you came. You will wake up, though all was but a dream. Free from the knowledge of one another. Relieved of the weight of your journey. Little Icarus, why must you insist on trying to fly? The higher that you climb, the further that you will fall. This is bigger than you. Bigger than this world. Bigger than your pain. Your love. Your wonder. We will remove from you the burden of sight. We will make you clean again. Without eyes, you will no longer need to fear the darkness. You will never be corrupted by the abyss. We will save you from yourselves. Allow us to relieve you from the burden of love. You need only to smile.
This is Trevor Hills. Trevor lives in Arcadia, the city of tomorrow. Trevor is a senior account manager and works at the top of the INAC tower. Trevor lives a quiet, mundane, ordinary life, and he's happy with that.
But Trevor shouldn't be. Because Trevor's track camera views are the lowest in his area. That means that Trevor is not popular enough. Not being popular is penalized with death. Because Arcadia is not a real city. It's just a giant TV set for the most popular reality show on the planet. American Arcadia.
What could be better than building and managing a city on the back of a giant creature? Let's find out more in this next segment, where we have the chance to chat with Philomena Schwab, the creative director of The Wandering Village.
For those who are unfamiliar, can you tell us a little bit about The Wandering Village?
The Wandering Village is a city building simulation game where you build up a city on the back of a giant wandering creature. I actually have him here with me today. Here he is. His name is Onbu, and the game is basically about symbiosis. You need to build up a relationship with the creature, and you need to maintain both your village and your villagers' happiness and their needs, and also the needs of the giant creature. And sometimes they clash a little bit, so it's hard to balance everything out.
Even though it is a strategic resource management city builder, one of the most unique elements of the Wandering Village is that you're nurturing a relationship with the giant creature that you're doing all of this on. Why did you decide to add this element to the game?
When we had the idea for the game, me and my business partner, we walked through an exhibition and there was a concept art of a city on the back of a giant creature. And we both stopped in front of it, looked at each other and both said, "Oh, I've been wanting to do a game like that." And then it was like, okay, maybe we should look into this. And me personally, I just love Tamagotchi. So if you look at the games I directed, so for example, Niche Genetic Survival Game, you always have like these cute creatures and your relationship with them. And the first ever game I actually made back as a teenager was a Tamagotchi. So now it feels like a natural progression of my career to make a giant Tamagotchi.
As you mentioned, the name of the giant wandering creature you're building your village on top of is Onbu. It seems like he is definitely a fan favorite and absolutely loved by your whole community. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind Onbu and why you think everyone loves him so much?
Yeah, why do people like Onbu? He went to a lot of design iterations. At the beginning, Onbu was an animal made of flesh and blood with fur. And the idea was that you actually plant stuff into his skin, but people found it kind of gross. So we turned him into an earth creature because then it would be more natural to plant things on him. And yeah, he used to be a pig, he used to be a turtle. And after a gazillion iterations, we arrived at this design. Onbu actually means piggyback ride in Japanese, so that's where he got his name from. And in terms of his character, I wanted to design him like a big, old, derpy dog, kinda. So we gave him a lot of dog characteristics in the animation, but at the same time it's this mystical, gigantic creature, and I think that just makes up for an interesting mix.
Throughout the game, players will wander off across many different beautiful biomes. Do you personally have a favorite biome?
Out of all the biomes, I think my favorite is probably the water biome. That's the one we spent the most time on by far to really make it beautiful. And I just really love the moment when you are like walking through a desert and then you arrive at the beach. I just think our artists did a great job at designing the beaches and like looking underwater, seeing all the little corals. And we added like these little manta rays that glow in the dark. They're my absolute favorite, so yeah, I have to go with water biome, even though it's the most difficult biome in my opinion to play in.
We hope you enjoyed hearing more about the inspiration behind amazing indie games like Tiny Glade, Slay the Princess, The Wandering Village, and Unpacking.
We also hope that this showcase helped you to discover some exciting new games to play.
And speaking of exciting new games, don't forget about the Women's Day sale on Steam, which is running from today until March 10th, featuring over 400 fantastic games from women-led teams. You're bound to find even more new games that pique your interest. With huge discounts and brand new demos of exciting upcoming games, you're definitely going to want to check it out.
Now, before we close the 2024 Games with Wings showcase, we do have a question for all of you. I know that there was a lot of cool stuff shown during this year's showcase, and it might be hard to top in 2025, but what would you like to see in next year's showcase? Let us know.
Thank you for joining us. Until next time, and we hope you enjoy these amazing games.